Welcome to our episode of Chad's Beer Reviews, doing yet another beer from my last table crate. Man, that fridge is running low. This one is from Bissell Brothers. Not much on the can. We're out of Portland, Maine. It's just called Swish Ale. 100% Maine grown grain. And it's really fresh. This was canned January 16th, so about 70 days, 75, something like that. Anyway, pour it into the IPA glass. Looks like orange juice coming out of the can, and it looks like orange juice in the glass. Classic hazy, like completely opaque. Pretty, actually didn't form like a huge head on that, although I will say it is sticking around. A lot of them fizzle away like dish soap suds. Before we get into the aroma, since they didn't say anything about the beer, I brought up the website here. So it just says, the realization of our wildest dreams of the brewery's infancy, a golden promise malt base smothered with Citra, Mosaic, and Simcoe hops. So good. They never use those in hazy IPAs. Classic hazy aroma. Very tropical, very juicy smelling. Yeah, I would say like kind of equal parts orange juice, grapefruit juice. There's definitely some pineapple in there. It has like a slight kind of suggestion of sweetness. It has like those kind of background kind of grassy kind of character to it. But yeah, otherwise pretty classic double IPA, hazy IPA. So let's give it a try. Cheers. Wow. I mean, if you've been watching the show for a while, I said like I'm not a huge fan of hazies, but when I do, I like them big. And like this one, this is like kind of my idea of a hazy that I like. This is a big one, big flavor, big mouthfeel, big aftertaste. Okay, no big surprise on the flavor here. Basically tastes the same way it smells. I would say big orange juice kind of flavor, grapefruit kind of flavor, but like de-bittered. If you ever actually drank, you can buy grape juice and just drink it like you would normal juice. And it tends to be very, very bitter, very acidic. This one is kind of like the flavor of grapefruit, but without like the bitterness or the acidity, obviously. I would say there's definitely a little bit of tropical in there. Probably pineapple would be like my go-to. I mean, it did say Mosaic, and I always get pineapple off Mosaic. And there's definitely that grassy, spicy sensation, because they did mention Citra and Simcoe, and those like tend to be very dank and grassy. Actually, kind of amazing to me, like right up front, right? It's like as soon as it hits my tongue, it has like this kind of orange juice, or maybe like an orange Julius or orange, shake of some sort, orange juice concentrate as a milkshake. This is made with wheat, which would definitely account for like the absolutely opaque body on there. It has like a little bit of a shine to it, which actually is good. Like this is actually how a hazy is supposed to look. I remember the BJCP specs say like, it should be hazy and have like a sheen or a shine to it. It shouldn't be like murky and like have sediment floating in it or whatever. I prefer like a little bit more lacing, but this is pretty nice. This does have a little bit, slightly noticeable bitterness on here. It's the thing about between hazies and traditional East Coast, West Coast IPAs. These types of beers tend to be like much lower on the IBU charts than your Dogfish Heads and your Stones and all that. Yeah, so I mean, if I had to guess, I'd probably put this about like, 30 IBUs or so. There is definitely a grassy, kind of spicy or peppery kind of flavor in there, which is adding, kind of like it's adding a kind of perceived bitterness, but it's not the same actual bitterness as like actual hop bitterness. That 8% it's subtle. It's not invisible, but it's subtle. I think it's kind of accentuating the kind of dry, grassy, peppery finish. So it does have like I would say the hops do linger here, but like they're not like super spicy. It's just, and this is not nearly as dank or grassy as like say like Fiddlehead or even like the Duvel from the other night, the triple hop Belgian IPA. Citra tends to be like super dank and weedy, and they must have just used that mostly for aroma, because it's not, it's not nearly as peppery and herbaceous as some of the other hazies that I've had. I would probably put it like medium full. I don't know if I go as far as say creamy texture, but it's definitely a soft texture, a full, kind of soft, smooth mouthfeel. Carbonation probably about moderate, maybe moderately high. Just really smooth. Just faint warmth from the alcohol. Although actually, that warmth might actually be from the hops themselves. There is such thing as hop burn, especially on a super fresh NEIPA like this. So before we get to the score, got to plug Tavor. Got this on there. I think it was $6.99. Bissell Brothers is one of the originators of the NEIPA style. So it's nice to have an actual New England IPA from a New England brewery. They're out of Portland, Maine. So if you want to start with Tavor, scan that QR code wherever it is, download the app, use my referral code, get you $10 off, and let them know that I sent you. All right, so my score for the Swish. Well, first of all, the label, I don't know, it's kind of a thumbs down on the label, because like there's like no information about it, and like the name and the, like, I guess the font's kind of cool, but I don't know. Yeah. But the beer inside is really good. I've always said it's easier to sell a bad beer with an awesome label than vice versa, and this is kind of an example of that, of like an awesome beer with a bad label. Although I'm not sure if I go as far as say awesome. I've definitely said this is very good. So I'm going to give a solid 8 out of 10. I think I might even go 8.5 for the Bissell Brothers Swish Ale. It is March Madness after all. Maybe that's what the name is for. All right, so you watch all the way in. You're awesome. Thanks for watching. I'll see you for Tuesday Night Beer School. Cheers.
Somebody brewed it. Chad just reviewed it. Thanks for watching Chad's Beer Review. Trust me, the next episode will be a lot better.